All right, cruising right along with Star Trek. And speaking of cruising, there's a couple of episodes where they utilize the shuttlecraft, and you'll see that in later Star Trek episodes as well. And well, here's another one called Metamorphosis, where we have Spock and Kirk and Dr. McCoy escorting this Federation commissioner, or I guess she's some sort of ambassador or what have you. But anyway, Nancy, who played by, what was her name, the actress? Oh, Eleanor Donahue. Well, I think she wasn't she one of Andy Griffith's girlfriends on the Andy Griffith show? Maybe not, I don't know. She looks familiar. Anyway, so she's being taken by shuttlecraft to the Enterprise. I'm not sure why the Enterprise just couldn't go there and beam her over. But whatever, she's on the shuttlecraft and she's got this disease, and it's potentially fatal, but there is a treatment for it, and so she's got to get to the Enterprise, and McCoy can treat her for it, and then she can get back to her very serious mission that she needs to deal with. I don't know, probably war would break out or what have you. I forget what exactly, but anyway, so they're cruising right along, and then all of a sudden this strange glowing thing appears and forces them down to a nearby planetoid, which is basically sort of a glorified asteroid, but it has an atmosphere around it, so there's oxygen and whatnot. So they're fine and all walking around on it, but the ship just doesn't seem to work, and Spock tries to fix it, and this strange entity stops him from doing it, zapping him and whatnot. Well, he tries to mind meld with it to try to understand the entity, but it's not having any of that, and we find out why later. Turns out the entity isn't the only creature on this planetoid. No, there's a man there living by himself at a little hut, and he's like, oh man, he's really glad to see other humans and all that. And Kirk and McCoy notice, boy, there's something familiar about this guy. Well, guess what? And this is where this plays into the overall Star Trek lore. So it's a very significant episode in that, right? Well, it turns out he's a man called Zefram Cochrane, who is a historical figure to Kirk and McCoy and Spock and the Federation all together, because he's the man, at least for, well, humans anyway, he's the man who invented warp drive. And of course, this story was expanded upon in the movie First Contact, where the Next Generation crew had to travel back in time to the period where, yes, the warp drive was tested and launched by Cochrane, played by a different actor who doesn't look anything like the actor playing Zefram Cochrane here. But apparently this is what Zefram Cochrane looked like as a young man. Now, wait a minute, young man, this is in the further years away. He should have, and plus it's like 100 years later or something like that, where he would have long dead. Well, he flew off in his spacecraft to just die in the stars. He was an old man, and that's, space travel was what he was all about, and that's where he wanted to die. And as he's going along, well, the entity encounters his ship and saves him, brings him back, and restores him to his youth. The entity has this power, and takes care of him, keeps him alive, provides him with whatever he needs. And lately has been noticing that the man is very depressed and lonely. So the entity decides, you know what? I'm going to get him some friends. So the entity, the companion, as Cochrane refers to it, goes and snatches Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and the commissioner here. And so quickly, Kirk and McCoy figure out that this isn't just an entity keeping a pet or whatnot. It turns out the companion appears to be in love with Cochrane. And one scene where they're able to use the universal translator device to communicate with the companion, and then you hear the voice, and the voice is undeniably female. But of course, in this day and age, well, how can you tell? And when there's no gender, and oh god. But this is the point. Why couldn't it be a male, and that sort of thing. But this is how they did it, and they go, hey, that makes sense, Actually, it doesn't in a lot of ways. I mean, I guess you could go, what is the origins of this entity? Could it have been some kind of consciousness from a humanoid species at some point? I don't know. Why would it be in love with the man? But it's all fascinated with Zephram Cochrane and longs to be with him. Zephram, at first, when he doesn't understand this, and when he realizes what the situation is, he's, ew, this is disgusting. He's really mad. And, but of course, Kirk's like, well, what the hell, you know? So they're having a problem. They try to short out the entity in the hopes that they can escape, because they've got to get the commissioner back to the Enterprise or she'll die. And entity's not happy about that, zaps him around and stuff like that. But eventually, the entity, the companion, comes up with a compromise and decides to save the life of the commissioner by joining with her, and they become one person. Now, the caveat of this is they do have a scene where in her fever, she's crying, and how can Cochrane deny love? What, you know, that's what anybody wants. So I guess because she's been a career woman or whatever, she's never had a serious relationship and whatnot. That's kind of rushed, because basically she's kind of forced into this relationship by the companion. The companion does save her life, but now as this new entity, basically, with them both living in the same body, and she's a very attractive woman, and so now Cochrane's very interested in this relationship. So she's gonna be with Zephram Cochrane. Well, whatever, but yeah, it's been a problem there somewhat, but well, nothing like this has ever happened, so who's to say? It could, I guess you could argue that it's a new entity altogether. It's neither her or the companion. It's someone new, but yeah. But anyway, as a result of this, the companion no longer has her powers anymore, and she's not immortal. And the real kicker here is poor Zephram, who wants to leave and go out and explore the universe some more. And because now he knows that the speeds are even greater with new, more advanced warp engines and whatnot. But he can't do it because the companion would die. She cannot leave the planetoid. Now, whatever that's about, I guess the origins of this entity has something to do with that. Who knows? One could even think up that the planetoid used to be part of a larger planet, and the entire consciousness of that race is formed this entity. I don't know. But anyway, so they're stuck there on the planet, and Cochrane decides, well, I'm going to stay with her, and we'll be happy here on our little rock in space. And then ask Kirk to never mention to the outside universe about them, because a lot of people would be very interested to come see Zephram Cochrane and all that, and he says, don't do that, I don't want them to mess with us and all that. So Kirk and crew figures, all right, but then of course, hey, what do? The commissioner was supposed to perform this mission. He said, well, we'll get somebody else. So I guess it didn't really matter. Of course, the real emergency was the disease the commissioner had. But now she's cured of that. But now she's not cured of mortality. She will grow old and die with Zephram Cochrane. So there you go. Metamorphosis. So the Metamorphosis being this, you know, sort of energy being in the name of love transformed into a human woman. Yeah. Yeah. All right, there we go. Moving right along with Star Trek. Alright, thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to IndiePlanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.